You won't see James Tallarico out here, but his student supporters are. They set up this table to share information and keep his campaign visible while on campus. Parking at Texas State has been a challenge for years, but now a new lot off of Thorpe Lane is already here, and not a lot of people know about it. Texas State University is running out of room for incoming freshmen. They are now buying nearby student apartments and turning them into dorms, and students are feeling the impact. San Marcos' iconic mermaid sculptures aren't just eye-catching, they actually change in the weather. You won't see James Tallarico out here, but his student supporters are. They set up this table to share information and keep his campaign visible while on campus. Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico was originally supposed to speak on campus Monday, February 23rd, but the same day his rally was abruptly moved to the Mark with little explanation. Even so, multiple student organizers have been chosen by Tallarico's team to promote his campaign on the quad in the hopes of increasing voter turnout for college students during the primaries.
I believe in what he is working for, and I think that we could have a more loving political environment in Texas, and I think he's pushing for that. Excuse me? Have you voted in this election yet for the primaries?
Like for what?
This is the primary, so this is the election that's determining who's going to be running in November.
If elected in November, Tallarico will be the youngest U.S. Senator in American history and is hoping with his campaign to see young people get more involved in politics.
And until young people take ownership of this political system and remake it in their own image, we're not going to see progress on all those issues that we care about.
Shortly after Tallarico's appearance at the Mark, his opponent Jasmine Crockett was allowed on campus Tuesday, February 24th, 2026, to discuss her campaign with students.
Campaigns come around and they always wonder whether or not the young people will come out and vote. I am here to tell you that y'all are showing up.
We asked President Kelly Damphouse why Crockett was allowed to speak on campus while Tallarico was turned away, but he did not care to comment. For the Texas State Newsroom, I'm Mia Salazar. In San Marcos, community members and Texas State University student organizations came together for a student-led protest demanding justice and the protection of free expression across universities. The march began at the Stallions and made its way through downtown, ending at the Hays County Courthouse, where protesters gathered to make their voices heard.
Move Texas has done a lot of different collaborations, joint meetings, joint socials, joint voter drives with a bunch of these different organizations out here. And so because of that, whenever we asked, hey, do you guys want to come out and march with us? All of them answered the call because they're all great people. We've got like 7 different Texas State orgs out here and 3 non-Texas State affiliated community orgs out here as well. Local politicians are aware and are rooting for us, and some may be out there today. Yeah, people care. People care.
Organizers say the strong turnout reflects growing collaboration between student groups in the wider Central Texas community. As the march moved through the square, several local businesses stepped in to support the protesters, handing out cold water to help protesters stay safe in the Texas heat. Supporters say these small acts highlight how the community continues to rally behind student voices and the call for change.
I union organized because Texas State, as a university, built its names off the back of its workers, off the students paying their bills, off of our labor, our success, and our achievement. And because of that, you have a right to reclaim it. And to do so, that means sharpening all of that labor that you guys have and all of that collective power you have into specific demands and forming like real organizations to make the change that you want. It can be as small as doing things like creating community organizations, trying to create like a peer support group. That always builds towards that always can build towards more, because we're all affected by these issues right now.
No counter-protesters were reported at this event, and organizers say that the protests remained peaceful throughout. This is Mia Salazar with the Bobcat Update.
Trouble finding parking at the stadium? Well, you're in luck, because Texas State University has finally completed construction on the Thorpe Lane parking lot. The project has added hundreds of new parking spots for both students and commuters, so you no longer have to pile into the overcrowded stadium. The location was also chosen to be as convenient as possible for commuters. The Vice President of Facilities, Dan Costello, had this to say about the new lot.
And what's going to be great about that is you'll be able to access that parking lot directly from the I-35 access road and be able to exit out onto the I-35 access road. So if you're a commuter and you're coming, if you're coming from either north or south and I-35 is your chosen, route of choice, then that provides a good option because you can get in and off campus really easily. I just think it's going to be a great spot. It'll be over 500 parking spots in that lot. So easy to access and a very quick route onto campus.
Originally, the lot wasn't getting much use when it first opened earlier this January, but in the last few months, many students have started taking advantage of its convenience.
I'm a CS major, so a lot of my classes are actually in Derrick Hall and in Lampasas, because I also work with the Honors College. So the Thorpe Lane bus really sort of takes me to where I need to be going, especially as far as like the center of campus goes. I think as far as like the rollout of the bus went, I think it could have been done better. It took me a little while to find this place. I kept parking over at the stadium, and then I tried to park over at Bobcat Village, and it took me a bit to sort of find it through Google Maps. But I'm glad I did. It's really convenient. It's nice as a commuter to be able to pull right off the highway here and just sort of fill it in right over there.
With more people becoming aware of the lot, we spoke with one of the bus drivers to see how full the ride usually gets.
Actually, it's not that full. Occasionally you'll get a full bus, and it's not completely full, but I don't think a lot of people know about the Thorpe parking lot yet.
The Thorpe parking lot is open to all Texas State students and runs buses at the same time as the other stops. For Bobcat Update, I'm Hayden Eiler.
On March 28th, the Meadows Center for Water and the Environment hosted a free outdoor screening of the award-winning documentary Yacona, which follows the story of the San Marcos River. Jeffrey Brown, one of the film's producers and an organizer of the event, explained why they chose to partner with the Meadows Center.
It's a collaboration with the Meadows Center. We're at the headwaters of the river, so this is the ideal place. And the film's been out for a while, and we wanted to organize something for all the new people coming in town. We have new students, the city's growing, and it's a healthy reminder of the importance of the river.
Miranda Wade provided more insight into the planning behind the event and all the local partnerships involved.
This is a partnership, the event, put on by First Tuesday, which is they show documentaries in town at the Price Center, and then the directors of Yacona, and then San Marcos River Foundation is a partner on it, and Eyes of the San Marcos River is also going to be a part of it. One is to celebrate World Water Day. We also host a monthly Family Fun Day, which is a free families activity, and so we're combining the two events.
Despite taking place on a Saturday night, the event saw a strong turnout, with community members gathering with blankets and friends. The evening also featured a panel discussion before the film, where those involved shared their experiences bringing the story to life. One of the film's co-directors said the project was always meant to have a lasting impact.
We have that in mind of we want this to inspire generations of people. So it's kind of crazy. We now have a screening 12 years later. When we were crafting the film, Paul Collins, the other director, our intention behind it was for it to live with the community for as long as it's relevant.
The screening acted as both a celebration and a reminder of the role the San Marcos River plays.
Hi, and thanks for joining us for this edition of Bobcat Update. I'm Mia Salazar.
And I'm Elizabeth Hernandez. Dozens of students joined university staff Friday for a march and a protest, and it wasn't just one issue this time.
They were upset about immigration enforcement, a push for a new voter ID law, and what they say is a lack of free speech on campus. Jabari Ross and I covered the march. We've been telling you about the back and forth in Texas over smokable hemp. Lawmakers made it illegal, but a judge reversed that. It might not matter anymore after a change in federal law. The U.S. Attorney General just changed some marijuana from a Schedule I to a Schedule III drug classification. Schedule I lists the most serious drugs like heroin and fentanyl. Marijuana was on that list for years. Now legal pot products will be Schedule III drugs. That list includes ketamine and testosterone. Here's the catch. It's not all pot, only pot that's legally sold by the government, like at a state dispensary.
A popular sandwich shop right across the street from the university got a little slice and dice on social media recently.
Yeah, some former employees dished on how they weren't happy with the work environment. That led to some big changes. Alvin Ords announced new management a couple weeks ago. Gracie Fabella and Natalie Munoz have the tea. Thanks, Liz. Let's start with the biggest story. A man with 2 guns tried to rush into the White House Correspondents' Dinner Saturday. The dinner happens every year and presidents traditionally attend, but this was the first time President Trump was there. The FBI says 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen raced past a checkpoint and was stopped by security outside the ballroom. Shots were fired, but it isn't clear who fired, and no one was seriously hurt. President Trump and members of his cabinet were evacuated by Secret Service agents. The suspect is now charged with trying to assassinate the president. President Trump posted an early morning social media warning that Iran doesn't have a leader and that the country better get smart soon. That led to oil prices climbing to $110 a barrel and the highest gas prices of the year this week. There are no official negotiations underway and not many ships are passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Closer to home, a tornado swept through Mineral Wells, Texas, west of Fort Worth. Fortunately, no lives were lost, but there was a lot of damages to homes, businesses, and cars. Hail the size of baseballs also fell. One driver captured hail smashing his windshield in a very scary moment. Dallas TV reported 5 different tornadoes in the area Tuesday. We showed you a few weeks ago that there's a Selena exhibit at the Wycliffe Collections in the library. Last time, we focused on the photos of the Tejana singer, but this time, I asked an expert about her style.
We mentioned the first ever Spanish language broadcast of a game a couple weeks ago.
And that just happened again. Journalism professor Dino Kieki partnered with Professor Marcos Garcia Barrero for Moral Languages. You could hear them on KTSW radio yesterday evening when the Bobcats hosted Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The pair called the first Spanish broadcast last month, but unfortunately, the Bobcats lost this one 7-2. But outfielder Rashawn Galloway set a record. He now has more doubles in one season, leading with 22. That's more than any Bobcat ever. As summer approaches, it's a reminder of a tragedy that struck the Hill Country last year. On July 4th, heavy rain caused record flash flooding, sweeping away homes near rivers and devastating a summer camp. The flood took 137 lives, including 25 young children and others at Camp Mystic. One criticism at the time was that there was no cell service in the camps, so no emergency alerts. The Texas Tribune reports state lawmakers passed new laws last year to dramatically increase phone and internet connectivity in those remote camps. But 19 camps sued, saying it was too difficult and expensive. Lawmakers compromised for now and won't require the new web access. Meanwhile, the family that owns Camp Mystic announced they were canceling camp for this summer. That's Warren Broadley Jr. He was out doing his usual job delivering baked goods in Baltimore. Then this happened. What hit his truck? A United Airlines 767. Just before it landed on the runway, the driver was treated for cuts on his arm from the jet's wheel smashing out his window, but incredibly, nobody else was hurt. On the road or in the airplane. That flight from Venice, Italy landed safely. That's crazy. I'm so glad he's okay.
Yeah, no one else got hurt. Amazing.
Yeah, and now we have a much nicer story to share with you now.
Next time you jump in a river around here, you may not be alone. Reporter Hey Mia, do you ever sing at home or when you're driving?
I actually do. I sing, I dance, I do it all. It honestly just runs in my blood. What about you?
Yeah, I have a whole playlist dedicated to it. It's kind of a problem.